But just to be abundantly clear, I like Pearl. I support Pearl. I don't think Pearl's a bad person.
Correct.
Everyone's entitled to some mistakes. And as a Jew, and as somebody that loves black people, I will say that I think Pearl is a good person, and I don't think she's in the wrong here. And I will defend Pearl to people that want to say otherwise. That's just my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Last night I was asleep dreaming about the Easter bunny and the Easter eggs, when all of a sudden I kept getting a lot of emails with a link to this particular video that says, just Pearly Things accused of racism by woke SJWs and black manosphere. So it seems like they made a mistake. Manosphere, again, give them a round of applause. Guys, I make mistakes too, so you guys know I do. I'm not perfect. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, especially because it is Easter Sunday. Now, Valuetainment is owned by Patrick David Bett, and Valuetainment Money is, I believe, somewhat of a subsidiary of Valuetainment. And on this particular channel, you have a man by the name of Adam. Now, Adam, for purposes of this video, he is a self-admitted Jewish person of Jewish origin. That is going to become very apparent in this review because he is pretty much going to give us his opinion on if he believes if Just Pearly Things is racist. Now, we all know about Nick Fuentes, the self-proclaimed white supremacist who is half German, half Italian, with a Hispanic last name. But be it as it may, before we get into the black sector, I was kind of wondering, what did Adam think about Nick Fuentes' anti-Semitic views? Let's play that clip.
Next clip right there. So basically, you know, Pearl is dipping her toes in the water, sitting down with a anti-Semitic, Holocaust denier, white supremacist, white nationalist, Nick Fuentes, and just trying to have a casual conversation with someone who is basically denying the atrocities of the Holocaust. 6 million Jews were killed. I had family members that were killed. I've been to the Holocaust Museum. The Holocaust Museum in Miami is literally across the street from my house in Miami. You know, the building with the big hand out there. And everyone is entitled to her opinion these days. Nothing like a 24-year-old American who knows nothing about the Holocaust to weigh in that he thinks the atrocities of the Holocaust were a little overblown. There are concentration camps in Bucharest, in Auschwitz, all over Poland, all over Germany, littered with the dead bodies of Jews and gypsies and handicapped people and basically people who went against Adolf Hitler and that'll never be heard from or seen again. But Nick Fuentes has an opinion that doesn't think it was that bad. So, you know, they say that when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. These are the prizes that you win when you sit down with someone like Nick Fuentes. Let's go to the next clip. Yeah, it's just sad. I think, you know, here's what I will say. Don't cancel this guy. Let him keep talking. Yeah. I'm an advocate for shining a light on idiocy. So, look, you're sitting down with somebody who judges groups of people, okay? When you're like, all blacks are this, all Jews are this, all whites are this, all Mexicans are this, that's a very dangerous predicament to be in, okay? And this is somebody that Kanye West has aligned himself with. And that's a very tough needle to thread when you're Kanye, because he's like, love the anti-Semitic stuff that you had talking about, Nick, but I'm just gonna look the other way about the black stuff. So if there's anything that we can say about Kanye, is obviously no fan of Jews, but loves blacks. So how do you advocate for someone like Nick Fuentes that basically is like, ugh, black people?
So to be fair to Adam, he's saying, look, he feels like Nick Fuentes, with his hate speech even against his own community, should be able to continue to talk and make himself look bad. So he does say that, right? So if he'll say that for his own group, we already kind of can figure what he's going to say about the black community. But I want him to give an assessment on if he thinks Just Pearly Things is racist or not.
Here's my message. I think at the end of the day here, a lot of people out there are trying to cancel Pearl now,
Yes.
or call her a racist, or basically say, that she is taking advantage of people, or she has a lot of black people that work for her that are basically up in arms about this. I get it. This is my opinion now. I think Pearl is a good person. I do not think that she's racist.
Yeah.
She has not shown us
Yeah.
anything like that. I think she's a person that is open to sitting down with anybody. But sometimes when you're open to sitting down with anybody, you get sat next to somebody that is going to make you look very bad. Okay? Nick Fuentes has asked to be on Valuetainment multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times. We said, do we really want to give this person a platform? We're not anti-giving him a platform. We're just not pro giving this person a platform. I'm not ruling it out. I think it would be hypocritical for us to say we would never have him on a platform. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. It's just, are these the conversations that we really want to have with somebody?
Correct.
And the lies and the peddling of myth truths that are out there. So I'll tell Pearl this. She's 26, okay? Everybody's entitled to some mistakes. It's not like she was the one making these atrocious comments, but she is the one basically giving him a platform. And I don't think there's wrong with that. So for all of you that basically were Pearl fans and now you hate Pearl, lighten up on the girl.
Yeah.
She's 26 years old. She's rose to stardom very fast. She's kind of grappling it all. We've had some private moments out there where I had to give her a hug, where she was basically going through some emotional stuff. She's young, she's learning, and she'll get better. I guarantee you that. She is somebody that has a thirst for knowledge, that is inquisitive, and generally has a good heart. I'm saying that for somebody that sits with a whole host of people from all along the political and social economic spectrum.
Now, I want to mention two things from that particular excerpt. The first thing he says is that Pearlie is not racist. She's a good person. There are a lot of good people in the world who could be racist. You ever heard of Gandhi? Like, he's probably one of the main good people in the world. That was definitely racist against black South Africans, but we're not going to talk about that right now, right? We'll just continue going forward. But he says that just Pearlie Things is willing to sit down with anybody. That's an important point, Mr. Adam, because willing to sit down with anybody doesn't mean that you're going to have a change of opinion. I mean, there are people who sit down all the time that don't like each other. Israel will sit down with Egypt or Iran, or Trump can sit down with Putin or whoever else, right? People who don't like each other can sit down, but that doesn't mean they don't see eye to eye. Because see, here's the thing that Mr. Adam doesn't understand. Sarah Garvey tried to sit down with Just Pearlie Things to explain the errors of her colonial mindset. And let's see what happened.
And from the beginning, I started to think that maybe this girl has a colonial mindset. Now, we all know that we don't want to be paranoid, so I kept working with her. However, the more I worked with her is the more that I saw. She had a colonial type viewpoint when it came to black people. And I had to school her a few times on what it was like to be black and the black experience, and also what slavery and colonization was actually like.
Do you think that historical catastrophes must be compensated for?
No.
No.
That's stupid.
So then, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing.
Yeah.
So then, how come there were groups of people that got compensation then?
How come?
For instance, like Jewish people, Chinese people, Japanese people with the bombs. Like there were groups of people who got compensated.
I don't know.
So it wasn't fair.
What? Well, I'm talking about like when I think about group, I think about reparations. So I mean, maybe if the people were still alive today, like I don't know, maybe. But like when you said historical, I thought you meant like at the past, not the present.
Yeah, so like in the past, so like people talk about slavery. So in the past, you know, the Holocaust happened. In the past, you know, the Japanese, but people got compensated for it.
Yeah.
There's a book, right, called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. And when you read that book, you realize that the whole Industrial Revolution and stuff like that was started because of the colonization. And you just think, Well, if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't be as successful.
So, what do you mean by the colonization?
So the colonization of Africa, so both the people and the resources, right? There's a direct correlation between the colonization of Africa and the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
And so with all the metals and the rubber and all this kind of stuff coming from Africa, it fueled the Industrial Revolution of the West.
Wait, so you're saying like in Africa, when you say colonize, you're saying like did England come in and colonize?
Yeah, like so European, France, Spain, Portugal, England.
And they like enslaved Africans, and that's what you're saying. Okay.
So they enslaved and at least colonized the continent.
Okay.
So when you colonize a continent and then you take ownership of the resources, you're able to gather those resources together and use them to your own benefit.
Right.
And so you gather those resources, use them to your own benefit, and build up your economy, all the while messing up the economy of that actual country. Right.
So that video was filmed in 2022. And in that video, what you saw was me attempting to tell Pearl and show Pearl what colonization was like. How people went to another group of people and took their resources and took what was theirs and built their empire off of it.
So let me also point this out. He doesn't feel Just Pearly Things is racist. Well, of course, you don't see any evidence of that. You are in the Jewish community in America, which just by looking at Mr. Adam, I cannot tell if he is a European white, if he's European Jewish. You're not going to ever see any discriminatory action from her, number one, because of how successful most or many Jews are in America and what rights they have as an oppressed group, right? As a protected group. So nobody will do that. And the power that Jews own almost every industry, no one in their right mind is going to come out and express racism towards a Jew if they're intelligent. Now, Nick Fuentes, who is not that intelligent, he would say something that stupid. But of course, Just Pearly Things is never going to show you that side. But that doesn't mean she won't show anybody else that side. Now, here's a situation that Mr. Adam doesn't understand. He is an American Jewish person. Doesn't mean that his group has not been oppressed or they have not faced casualties. He mentioned a few of those in that particular excerpt of him speaking. But the question is the people who are being offended by what Just Pearly Thing. The question is, do they feel those statements are racist? Like, look who she aligns herself with. You know, I never see Just Pearly Things going to invite somebody from the Nation of Islam to her podcast. She's never invited anybody such as somebody from the Nation of 5%, Nation Roland Martin. She doesn't invite those people. I've seen Mr. Patrick David Bett do that. And we all know that, you people over there at Valuetainment, you guys are pretty much on the right. I can tell because of that woke social justice warriors. And like, what do you mean by that? Like, these guys want to really try to say woke SJWs. That just means, in my honest opinion, you're talking about African Americans are the blacks. That's another way of saying black people, in my honest opinion, because the only people that are really outraged about this are black. And you did say the black manosphere. So that's another way of saying woke SJWs is talking about, in my honest opinion, talking about black people there. That's what I believe. It could not be true, but I see that's another way of conservatives, pretty much hightailing and trying to, make their stuff very subtle. But the reality is, Mr. Adam, we're the people that could be offended by that. So it doesn't matter if you feel that the individual is racist. What matters is the perception of those people who are offended. Because see, your people went through all of those things in Poland and Auschwitz and, and in Germany and all of that. You can relate to if somebody's, should be held accountable for their actions. But your people have no lineage to the slave trade. They have no lineage to Jim Crow laws. None of those things in America as far as being discriminated about being black. So that's something that you can't speak about because that is not your experience, just like we cannot have any experience with the Holocaust, or there's no way that we can relate to it. The only thing that we can do is be more or less sympathetic because it's something that we just don't understand. We can empathize or sympathize with it, but our family hasn't talked to us about it in detail, such as your group would have talked to you about it from your particular family structure. So the reality is, of course, you don't think that she's racist because it didn't happen to your people, a case of what she's talking about. So, and then you also mentioned one thing, Nick Fuentes has been trying to come to Valuetainment, but we don't want him onto the platform. Well, she didn't say it because you're saying that she didn't say it, right? He said it. So then why don't you invite Mr. Nick Fuentes to the platform? Can we get some Jeopardy music? Mr. Adam, the reason why you don't want to invite Nick Fuentes to the platform, because you very well know that Nick Fuentes is going to say something very stupid that will offend people. And just because you think Just Pearly thinks is a young person, she knows he's going to say something stupid because Nick Fuentes is not that smart. But that's why you guys won't bring him on there, because he's going to probably almost get you guys deplatformed. And so you know he's going to say something offensive about who? Most likely Jews, definitely blacks. So you don't want to be associated with that because you know that's what he's going to say. But Just Pearly Things knows that and laughs with the guy and even sits there, lets him talk, and lets him bash the people in the black community, which we all seen. So if you are accountable and intelligent enough to not invite him, you don't think that she is? That's what we're missing out on. See, you're telling on yourself, bro, the more you're talking. So guys, but what do you think? Is this Mr. Adam, is he simping for her? I mean, because he loves us as black people so much. What do you guys think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Produce for all that you do. Subscribe to the mail. We're out.